El Radio Phoenix presents The Crazy Neighbor Chronicles, Episode 2, The Binocular Incident. Neighborhood breaking news. This just in, Mrs. Kravitz has upgraded her neighborhood security system. She now owns military-grade binoculars. Residents are advised, if you can see Mrs. Kravitz, she can already see you. Good morning, neighbors. Welcome back to the Crazy Neighbor Chronicles. I'm Juansito Santiago, broadcasting live from the corner of Curiosity Street and Chaos Lane, where yesterday's gossip becomes tomorrow's evidence. Yesterday, the whole neighborhood thought I was building an underground bunker. Today, things got even worse. Mrs. Kravitz bought binoculars. Not the little bird-watching kind. These things looked like NASA loaned them to her. The story. The delivery truck pulls up. Mrs. Kravitz signs for a huge box. She opens it right there in the driveway. Out comes the biggest pair of binoculars I've ever seen. Captain HOA walks over. Planning to watch birds? Mrs. Kravitz smiles. I already know where the birds live. I'm watching the neighbors. Captain HOA almost drops his clipboard. 10 minutes later, she was sitting on her porch, scanning the neighborhood. Slowly, very slowly, like she was looking for buried treasure. I walked across the street. Morning, Mrs. Kravitz. Without lowering the binoculars, she says, I know. I said, you know what? She smiles. You need to shave. I rubbed my face. She was right. About then, old man Eddie wandered over with his coffee. Mrs. Kravitz handed him the binoculars. He looked through them for a long time. Finally, he said, I can see my house. Mrs. Kravitz smiled. Of course. Eddie handed them back. I was standing in front of it. Captain HOA couldn't take it anymore. Mrs. Kravitz, you're invading people's privacy. She looked offended. I'm protecting property values. Captain HOA nodded. I like that. Then he whispered, can you check if Bob's grass is over 4 inches? By lunchtime, Mrs. Kravitz had counted 32 squirrels, 17 dogs, 9 delivery trucks, 1 man who picked up his newspaper in pajamas. She wrote everything down. Amazon Annie walked over. What are you writing? Mrs. Kravitz whispered. Evidence. Evidence of what? I don't know yet, but something's happening. Just then, Mrs. Kravitz gasped. I found something! The whole neighborhood came running. Captain HOA, Amazon Annie, Old Man Eddie, Brenda, Carl, Nancy, Pete, even Buddy the neighborhood dog. What is it? Mrs. Kravitz pointed dramatically. There, by the oak tree. Everyone stared. Silence. Captain HOA squinted. I don't see anything. Mrs. Kravitz whispered. That squirrel buried an acorn on HOA property. Captain HOA froze. Without permission? Mrs. Kravitz nodded. Old Man Eddie slowly took a sip of coffee. I'd fine him. Just then, Officer Daniels drove by. Mrs. Kravitz flagged him down. He rolled down the window. Before she could say a word, he sighed. Let me guess. Mrs. Kravitz, she smiled. How did you know? Officer Daniels looked at the binoculars. I've been doing this a long time. She pointed toward the tree. Officer, we've got suspicious activity. Officer Daniels looked. Squirrels? Mrs. Kravitz nodded. They're hiding things. Officer Daniels smiled. So are my kids. He tipped his hat. Have a nice day, and drove away. Old Man Eddie watched him leave. Smart man. Well, this is my final thought for the day. You know, some people think curiosity gets you into trouble. I disagree. Curiosity gives you stories. Too much curiosity gets you Mrs. Kravitz. And in closing, well, neighbors, that's today's neighborhood report. Remember, if Mrs. Kravitz ever asks, what are you doing? The safest answer is nothing. Because if you tell her the truth, by tomorrow, it'll be front page news. I'm Juansito Santiago, saying mind your business before somebody else does. And remember, you didn't hear it from me, but you heard it from me. Tomorrow on, a moving truck pulls into the neighborhood. Nobody knows who's moving in. Mrs. Kravitz says they're celebrities hiding from Hollywood. Captain HO says they're renters who never filled out the paperwork. Carl says they're undercover FBI agents. Old Man Eddie says they'll either fit in or they'll move out by Friday. But when the front door finally opens, the entire neighborhood goes silent. Trust me, you do not want to miss Episode 3, The New Neighbors, only on our YouTube channel.